Hello everyone, CaddywhumpusGamer here, bringing you another episode of Minecraft Awakening. Today's episode we are going to be working on auto crafting with our ME system. So there's going to be several things you're going to need. You're going to need crafting units, which you need to create all of these. Alright, you can make crafting monitors, you can make crafting coprocessors, and you can make crafting storage with any of the different storage modules. Now, every recipe takes a certain amount of data in order to store it, process it, and all of that. So basically, the more of these you have in your unit and the higher number they are, then the more you can craft with that processor. It's a little bit hard to explain. I can't explain it as good as some people can. There are other tutorials online if you need to find out even more detailed stuff, but this will give you the basic idea of how to do it. So I'm just gonna run some cable like this. Oops. So that I got room to work here. Oh yeah, I made one of these matter receivers and I linked it to this thing. So anytime I right click, I jump to this. So, and it works across dimensions, so I can always get back home now. It's really nice. Got to charge it up every once in a while though. Okay, one of the things you're going to make is a pattern encoder, and I don't even bother making this. You will need it in order to make the ME pattern terminal, which I would suggest just jumping to that because I will show you why. If you put down the pattern encoder here, you can look, I still have items in it. You stick 4 wood in here and it gives you a crafting table, and then you put a blank pattern up here and you can pull the completed pattern out here like this. Now if we were to make the pattern terminal like I did, let's just put that right above this one like this, you will see that it is different because you can toggle this button between processing pattern and crafting pattern. Now the difference between these is we just did a crafting pattern, so we would go like this and we would take, oops, let's see, put a blank pattern here, and then you click this to encode it. You don't just pull it out like you did on the table. And if you hold shift with these in your inventory, they will turn in, they will show what they are, and it'll also tell you what it takes to craft them. Alright, now processing. What would processing be? How would you use that? A processing pattern you would use like this. Let's see, Ardite. Alright, I don't have any Ardite dust. What dust do I have? Cobalt. Alright, basically what you would say is 1 cobalt equals 2 dust. Now it can give up to 6, but you want to do the minimum amount, so you make sure you do have enough resources. Otherwise, it can get stuck. So then we would encode this. Now what we would do is, let's grab some extra cobalt just so I can show this. Let's see, put it in here and get a bunch more of that. You know what, just we can use a bunch of cobalt, we can always smelt it down a little later. Okay, now the other thing you need is an interface. Now we're going to use an ME interface, and this is just going to be really messy for right this minute. Let's see, we're going to put the ME interface on top of here, and then we're going to bring this up, bring it up one more, bring this over and connect it so that that'll be online. We'll wait for it to come online. Missing channel. Come on. It'll take a second for this to update. Okay, it's online. So now what we would do is we would take this recipe and we would put it right here for patterns. Now we can't do anything with this right this second. And the other thing we would do is we would put, let's see, take this, we're actually going to stick another ME interface, whoops, there, let's see, interface, we're going to use one of these that takes up the whole block. We're going to put this here so that when this spits out, it automatically goes into the ME system. Alright, we don't need that extra piece of wire right there, get rid of that. So as it stands right now, we can't use that whole setup for anything because we need a crafting like what is it? Basically a crafting unit. Now the way these work is, let's see, you're going to need storage. So let's do 3 things of storage. Let's do a crafting monitor. This will actually display the item that's being crafted. And actually, let's move this right over here. Let's see, 3 of these. And the way these work, oops, is that they have to be either square, rectangle, or cuboid, or whatever. They can't be odd numbers. Like you see, if I add 1 on here, and this is a coprocessor, this allows it to do more recipes at the same time, I believe. And that makes it so that you can do more in-depth recipes, because some recipes you can do, like, you can do all the way at the end of the line. Like, I can say, you know, I want 1 octuple compressed cobblestone, and it will compress all the cobblestone into double, all the double into triple, triple, quadruple, so on and so forth. So you'll need more processors for that. So you can see if I put 1 of these down, this becomes invalid. Now the reason it becomes invalid is because it's no longer square. So I can add 1 here and 1 here, it's still not square, and just say I want everything to be uniform. You know, I want 3 of these, I want 3 of these. Well, I have to fill in this space. So if I want to, I can just use a regular crafting unit and put it in there. That completes the multi-block structure, and that gives me this. Now what this does is it allows you to use those patterns like we stuck over there. So now you can see if I go into my ME system and I type in cobalt, you can see I have 5 cobalt dust. I now have 22,000 cobalt ore because I threw so much of it, or made so much of it with EMC. Now you can see if I take all of it out, it'll say craftable. Now the other thing I can do is I can click right here on the view and it'll say stored/craftable. So now it's stored items. So if I take this out, you won't see the craftable thing. And if I do this, it's just craftable items, so it won't show what I have. So if I click here, I can say I want 1,000 cobalt dust. Hit next, and it'll tell me whatever, crafting CPU, and then I can hit start. This will be grayed out if you don't have enough processing, or you don't have enough resources, or, you know, whatever. So if we hit start, what it's actually going to do is this recipe over here goes, ooh, I need a cobalt ore, fill this with cobalt ore, and for every one of these that I grind, I get 2 cobalt dust. And then it's going to spit it out the right hand side. It'll go into here. This instantly goes into the ME system. Ooh, I don't have a capacitor in there. Oh my word, how do I not have one in there? I must have borrowed it for something. Oh. Yeah, let's see. Stored and craftable. Here we go. Octadic capacitor. Yeah, I got 17,000 of them. I don't think I need to worry about using one in here anymore. Normally, you would make this ME crafting system way earlier in the game. I just never bothered to do it in this playthrough. Normally, I would do it a lot sooner. All right, so let's look at the other uses for it. Okay, let's bring this out here. Oh, and I forgot to show you. So you can see that it's crafting cobalt dust and how much it still has left to go. Now we're going to build something else right here. And this is what I call a crafting flower. You are going to need, oops, ME interface. I should have just grabbed a stack of those, and I'll grab a half a stack right now. So you can put an ME interface down here, and you put a molecular assembler next to it, like this. Now I can put speed upgrades or acceleration upgrades in here to make it craft faster. Okay, so let's go to this. We're going to go back to the crafting, and I'm going to look at piston. Okay, and I can actually shift click this in here, and I can go like this. Now the other thing is, we're going to need these. So we can also encode those like that. Now, if I come into this ME interface, whoops, back here, I can put both of these recipes into here, like so. And if I look, piston, I forget what the thing in the center is called. Servo. Okay, I have 218 of those. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those out. And I'm also going to cancel this crafting because we don't have... Actually, you know what? Why bother? We can just set up another one of these. And for each one of these units that you set up, they act separate for separate recipes. Alright, coprocessors. Let's see, we'll fill this in with a crafting unit, and we'll fill this in with a, whoops, lag spike, with a crafting monitor. Now that will allow us to craft pistons while we're still doing cobalt. And you would basically, you know, stick maybe 20 of these things in if you're doing massive amounts of crafting all over the place. Okay, piston. So you can see that if I go to craftable, and I go craft, and I want 100 pistons, you'll see it has to craft 100 pneumatic servos. Now, if I didn't have the recipe for this, it wouldn't craft them, and these would show up red. So if I run back over here, and I take out this recipe, I'll go ahead and show you. Craft a piston, craft 100 of those. It'll say you're missing 100 of these. Now, if I was to throw, say, 32 of those in, oops, wrong thing, there we go, and say craft 100 of them, it would tell me I have 32 available, I'm missing 68. Now, if I go ahead and put this recipe back in, oops, that's not the recipe. Hold shift to see which one is which. Okay, put that in there. And, oops, craft pistons 100, and it will do it. So I can do this, and it will craft. And you can see this is what it's working on currently. Now what I can do is, the reason I call these crafting flowers is because if you put one of these on each side of an ME interface, actually on 5 sides like this, it will craft in all 5 of these using just the one pattern that is stored in the center one. And if I grab acceleration, upgrades, let's see, I need one more in here, 5 in there, 5 in there, whoops, 5 in there, and 5 in there. So now, since I have all of these and they're all sped up, you can see we're already done those 100 pistons. Now, if I go back to here, and I go to craftable, and I say, let's make 1,000 pistons. Boom. We can actually come back over here, and you can see, right now, it's crafting the pneumatic servos, and for some reason, it's only crafting in 2 of them. That is strange. It should be crafting in all of them. Interesting. That is strange. But you can see how fast, I mean, look at how fast this thing is crafting. Look at the number on the bottom, 330, 20, 10, 300, 390, 370, 350. Yeah, that thing is going to town crafting. So now, what can we use this for? We are actually going to use this. Oh, you know what? There's another recipe I want to do. Let's see. Infusion. Hang on. Let's see. Master Infusion Stones. Alright, so if we go back over here and we go uses for this right here, I want to be able to craft these. So if I put this in here, and I put that in there. Now for this is a simple recipe, so it should be as simple as, let's see, put one of those down. Do I need a crafting coprocessor? I think I can get away without it. Let's see, what are those called? Actually, we can just go to craftable. Craft these, give me 5 of these. Available 4. To craft 5? This is going to be interesting. And if we right click on here, crafting status, oh, it's over here because this one got done. Now, this is a good example. For some reason, it read the one in my inventory, I'm assuming. And therefore, it didn't craft the last one, so it gets stuck. If it doesn't have all the resources, or you take the resources out before it crafts, it can get stuck. If it does, you'll see it here. That's why these screens are so good. You just right click and you hit cancel. That'll clear it out. So now if we look, we should be able to craft one more of these and hit start. All right, and we've got the 5 of them now. So eventually down the line, we can actually be like, okay, we want, 10 condensers, which are these things here, the energy condensers, and Mach 2s. And it'll craft all the master infusion stones. It will craft all of the Mach 1 energy condenser, or all the philosopher stones, all the Mach 1 energy condensers, and then turn them into Mach 2. And it will make things so much easier. Alright, hopefully you learned something today. Until next time, this is CaddywhumpusGamer, signing off.